I think it's time we do our Batman rankings.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. We discussed this briefly before we started recording, because I decided I'd write mine down quickly out of the ones we've got on here. And it took me longer than I thought, so I'm glad I decided to write it down first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the list of people that we have on here. I know there have been other people who have played Batman, but they're not people I've seen enough of to have an opinion on. So we've got Pattinson, Affleck, Bale, Clooney, Kilmer, Keaton, Adam West, Will Arnett, who voiced Batman in the Lego movies, and then Kevin Conroy, who has basically voiced Batman in everything else animated. I know he hasn't voiced him in literally everything else animated, but in my opinion, Kevin Conroy is the voice of animated Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go first, Mr. Horizontal.
Okay. I'm going to
you starting at 10?
I'm going to preface this.
9.
I will... Wait, starting at 10 or 9? What?
Yeah, there's 9, but I've written down as to 10.
You confused me there so much then.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say there is some of the older ones that I don't really have any memory of. And because of that has influenced where they go. So if we'll see. But at the bottom, so the worst, I have Clooney. I know he wasn't well received, and I think I may have seen him once when I was younger, but I just don't have any recollection of him. And that, to me, that's like, well, he wasn't memorable enough for me to remember, so he's at the bottom. Then I've got Kilmer. Next, similar. I don't really remember him. This is the problem. The older ones that I don't remember kind of have just ended up at the bottom.
Not Horry being like twice my age and not knowing all of the classic Batmans. Shaking my head.
I spent my childhood playing RuneScape, not watching Men in Latex playing Batman.
To be fair, I definitely shouldn't have been watching Kilmer and Keaton's Batmans as a child, but still, we move.
Next, moving up, I have Affleck. I just didn't really like Affleck. Like, maybe it's the set of films that he's part of, and it just doesn't feel that great. And maybe it's the fact of coming off Christian Bale and you go into Affleck kind of sways me away from him. But yeah, not a huge fan of Affleck. Then I've got kind of Keaton and West, kind of the same point. I don't know which. I wouldn't necessarily put one above the other, I guess. The older Batman ones that I do remember, and I enjoyed them from what I can remember. I should really go back and rewatch all the old Batman films. Then I have Conroy, because I do remember watching some of the animated Batman as a kid, and that's obviously kind of what I'm basing off. Presuming most of what animated Batman I've seen is him. Then I have Honor, because I loved Batman in the Lego movies. I thought he was great, hilarious. Loved that Batman. It was a lot of fun. Then I have Bale. Then Pattinson is my number 1.
Okay, I think that's a very solid list. I don't think you're going to anger
too many
people more than any list will anger people.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are always going to get angry at someone else's lists, but I don't think you've done anything especially heinous there.
Should have put Clooney as number 1. That might have pissed off people.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna do mine in reverse order. So I'm gonna start at the top. For me, number 1 is Kevin Conroy.
Okay.
The man is Batman. He's just phenomenal. And it will take a lot for him to ever not be number 1 for me, I think. 2, I've got Pattinson. I'm not going to pretend recency bias isn't the thing. In 10 years' time, he'll probably fall down that list. But as of right now, he's my second favourite. I'm like I said, I'm not pretending recency bias isn't a thing, but I really, really fucking liked him. Next is Bale for me. Again, that's probably he was my Batman growing up, so there's a bit of a bias there. I'm not going to pretend there isn't, but at the same time, he was fucking brilliant. So I don't think anyone's going to mind too much. Some people are probably going to argue he should be higher. Next to me is Keaton. I just loved his take on Batman. Adam West is the GOAT, but I mean, his Batman was very different, which is why he's only 5. And this, Horry will remember as I was writing this, I was going, this feels so low, this feels so low.
Mm-hmm.
I've got on it at 6. He was brilliant as Lego Batman. I literally watched the Lego Batman movie the other night, and I really enjoyed it again. Yes, it's a kids' film, but you know what? It's fucking brilliant. I loved it.
Great film.
Which is why I felt so bad putting him so low. Val Kilmer was also a good Batman, in my opinion. Feels horrific putting him at 7. But that's what it is. We've actually been quite gifted with Batman actors, I feel. 8 is Batfleck. Had the right look, he had the right energy. I feel like he got let down by a bad script. But that's the way it is sometimes. Him not being 100% at fault doesn't get him any higher up the list, in my opinion. Number 9, literally anyone else, and then number 10, George Clooney.
That's why you got 10.
Yeah. So Horry, you obviously said he wasn't that well received. Let me put it this way: George Clooney, on numerous occasions, and anytime anyone asks him about his time as Batman in interviews, his first response is always, "I'm so sorry." He regrets taking the film. He regrets doing the film. He realizes now the film was garbage top to bottom. And he says even if he was given the opportunity to go back and do it right, he'd sooner just not do it at all because he realizes how badly he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, as a child, I quite enjoyed the George Clooney film. But again, that was just me watching something for dumb fun. They turned Bane into a mindless, just essentially super henchman. Mr. Freeze was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a good action actor, but guess what? You can't believe the man's a doctor. You got that guy shouting at you, making ice puns constantly. You can't believe that man is supposed to be like a really intelligent supervillain. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And I think that film is part of the reason I'm so scared that a bad adaptation of a character, a la Robin, and then not seeing them again for a long time in live action is why I'm so worried about The Flash and Morbius. But yeah, that's my top 10. I've got a feeling mine is actually probably going to cause more arguments than yours, Horry.
Possibly. What? Because of the
Batfleck fans are rough and they won't like him being that low. But
big change
yeah,
for you to be the one that's in the.
Yeah, oh god, come at me, boys. My opinion is all that matters to me, so get fucked.